I'd like to call the meeting of the Ponca City Board of Education to order. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, as spring breathes new life into the world, we gather with grateful hearts. Bless our students with clarity of mind as they navigate their academic, personal, and social development. Grant our teachers and administrators with patience and insight to nurture young minds with care. May this season be a time of growth, learning, and joy in the pursuit of knowledge. Amen.
Robin Riley.
Here.
Anna Rowland. Judy Troop. Nancy Zimmershed. Here.
and Adam's going to handle Evan too.
All right, so this is the only time I get to talk outside of superintendent's report all year long, so
You're already taking us to
I want to treasure this moment, so thank you. All right, each year in April, we do an election of officers for the Ponca City Board of Education, and at this time, we will take nominations for the president of the Ponca City Board of Education.
I'd like to nominate Don Newsom to be the president for the next school year, or next coming year.
Okay, we have a motion from Robin, or is there a second? Second from Judy. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Robin Riley.
Aye.
Judy Troop.
Aye.
Nancy Zimmershed. Anna Rowland.
And this is why it's important to always show up to every meeting, or you end up being the president. So, seeing that Don Newsom's not here, we're going to need to take nominations for vice president for the Ponca City Board of Education.
I will make a motion to nominate Robin Riley as vice president.
We have a motion from Nancy, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Rowland. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Judy Troop. Anna Rowland. Nancy Zimmershed. Robin Riley.
Aye.
All right, and at this time, I'm going to turn it over now to the Vice President of the Ponca City Board of Education. Congratulations, Mr. Riley.
Yeah. I apologize if it don't sound real good, but after 25 years, I think my sinuses have finally kicked in. But with that being said, we also need to elect clerk of the board, which Laura Graham has been serving for that function, and Maureen Dooley has been the deputy clerk. So at this time, I would take nominations for the clerk of the board and also for the deputy clerk.
I'd like to nominate Lori Graham for the clerk of the board and Maureen Dooley for the deputy clerk.
I'll make a second.
Okay, we have a nomination and a second. Any discussion? Not hearing any, call for the vote.
Nancy Zimmershed. Robin Riley.
Aye.
Judy Troop.
Aye.
Anna Rowland.
Congratulations.
You know what you got into? Okay, moving right along, item 3, presentation and recognition. Presentation of Employee of the Month and Friends of Education Award.
Oh, hold on, Robin.
Item 1 at the very bottom.
The Global Education Excellence Award.
Which one?
The one at the bottom, presentation. His does not exactly look like mine.
Here, you want this?
It was here.
Oh, presentation and recognition of the Global Education Excellence Award. Randy Joe.
Right, I brought a couple of guests with me to present the Global Education Award. This is from Education First, and that is one of the exchange groups you guys allow to have in your schools. So this is Victor and Lena, and they are currently with the program this year. And Victor said he would present the award.
So, as you can see, I'm not Randy Joe.
Sure.
I am one of the exchange students that has been allowed to go here this past school year. And I've been here since last year, it was August, and I must say that I've had a very good experience with Ponca City Public Schools. It has been very, very easy for me to enroll. Everything was great. Everybody helped me to understand what is going on. And I must say, to me, it is absolutely no surprise that this award for the dedication to the mission to opening the world for education has been awarded. And without further talking, I think I will be very gladly presenting this award. Thank you.
So you're not from Ponca City? Thank you.
Count three. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Thank you, Gavin.
Okay. Now we'll do number 2, presentation of, or number 3, presentation of Employee of the Month and Friends of Education Award. The certified employee of the month is Vina Gowdy, vocational business and information technology teacher at East Middle School.
So with so many positive attributes illustrating the nature of Mrs. Ponca Gowdy, it is the most challenging task to choose those which most accurately describe this empowering lady. Vina is compassionate, giving, gracious, considerate, supportive, enthusiastic, energetic, and the list is endless. Vina works tirelessly to ensure that her students have every opportunity to learn and grow. She continuously monitors grades and supports student learning outcomes. As the BPA teacher, she leads by example. She embraces positivity and supports her colleagues through her willingness to jump in and help others. We are excited to recognize Mrs. Vina Gowdy as the Certified Employee of the Month. You want another picture? Okay, perfect. Okay.
Next, we'll have the Support Employee of the Month, Charles Gonzalez, long-term substitute teacher.
Mr. Gonzalez is the April Support Employee of the Month. He has been a guest teacher in the district and at other sites, but he has been at Garfield during the fall of 2022 and the spring of 2024 covering maternity leave. Mr. Gonzalez has come in and immediately become part of the staff. He works hard to follow all lesson plans that have been provided and makes adjustments as needed. He doesn't hesitate to help out in any capacity and always strives to make connections with the students to help them achieve their goals. He goes beyond the duties of a substitute and makes sure the students are not missing a beat while their teacher is gone. He has come back even when not substituting to bring pizza for classes and even has been a rock, paper, scissors champion at Garfield. Mr. G, as he is known at Garfield, has a true heart for kids, and we are so lucky that he has come here so frequently to guest teach in our classrooms. Mr. Gonzalez is so kind and caring, and all students at Garfield love it when he's able to substitute. And he's a very important part of the Garfield family in Ponca City Public Schools. All right.
Finally, we have the Friends of Education, HTO, and by the way, my wife did come out there and buy a couple gallons of tea this afternoon. That might be good.
And you're Kim, correct? This is Kim Buford. On behalf of Ponca City Public Schools, HTO has been selected as the April Friend of Education. HTO provided many gallons of tea to many employees in the Ponca City Public School District. All of the staff were so grateful to receive this generous contribution. The staff really enjoyed the variety of flavors that were offered, and Ponca City is always grateful and proud of businesses that support our community, families, students, and staff. So thank you so much.
These three winners will follow Christie outside in the hallways to take the picture. Hopefully you got your hair combed and right. Right. Because the picture will end up in front page. Sorry, do we have any comments? I'm sorry. None? Okay. Moving right along. Reports with potential board discussion, internship report, Jordan Jackson Gross.
Okay. Hi everyone, I am Jordan Jackson Gross. I am the internship coordinator at Ponca City High School. And I was here last year around this time to update you guys about internship and kind of let you know when we were getting started. I feel like we were getting started because I just got brought in to kind of oversee this program last year in November. So we've had a lot of growth over the past year, and I'm really excited to share about it. But I did want to just overview the program for anybody that's new to the board or here who doesn't know that much about our internship program. So internship is a career exposure and development course that came out of the AIM Act of 2016. The AIM Act was a work readiness initiative brought down by the governor, I think, to help students in high school have experiences with apprenticeships, internships, mentorships, and generally just help them prepare to transition into the working world. A little bit of a step away from the idea that all students need to just be prepared for and move straight into going to college. Not that there aren't a lot of overlaps. There are plenty of students who have internships that are college bound. But so our program is a joint partnership program between Ponca City Public Schools and Ponca City Development Authority. We work together to create internship opportunities for our students, and I think this partnership is really amazing because it's helped me from a former teacher and school thinking perspective get into the business world, make connections in the community, and think about how we can bring economic development and workforce needs thinking processes into the education that we're delivering to our students as they're making the transition into being in that role, into being in the working world. So it is a program that's open to juniors and seniors who are qualified. To be qualified to take an internship class, you need to have a certain GPA, have good attendance and behavior, background, stuff like that. And students apply each semester to take up to 2 hours a day of internship. They take it in their class schedule. So instead of going to 5th period, 6th period, they go to an internship at a business or organization in Ponca City during that time. It is a graded class, and they do all of their coursework through me on Google Classroom. So if that kind of makes sense. And our mission is just to expose students to careers, to engage them in real work environments, and connect them with mentorships and local career pathways that they may not know about. And my goal, sorry, I lost myself in that thing. My goal is just to support POHI by creating expanded opportunities to meet our ICAP requirements. I don't know if everybody here knows what an ICAP is, but that is the new requirement for all graduating seniors in Oklahoma, that they have to have an individual career and academic plan that is in a portfolio that they create over the course of their 6th through 12th. Is that right, Dr. Hawkins? They start in the 6th grade. And they are exposing themselves to different career opportunities, going to career fairs, college fairs, internships are an option that they can use to fulfill the needs of that portfolio. Questions about any of that? It's a big overview.
When did they start ICAP? What year was that?
Well, I think they started ICAP, last year was the first year it was required, but I think we piloted it
It's been
before
a
that.
state mandate for graduation requirements. The first year it's a requirement of a class was last year.
Okay,
Oh,
that's what
The
that's what-
seniors, but it's been around for a while.
Any other questions?
How many businesses are involved?
So I do have that on the slide. I counted, it's always in flux because we have different interns moving around, but I have counted 101 businesses that have partnered with us since I started in 2020, which is amazing. Really exciting. There we go. So last year when I was here, I talked about some of my goals that I had to bring to the program, and I wanted to just update you on those goals as quickly as I could. One of my big goals was that I would continue to grow student involvement and exposure of this program to our community. I feel that we've made amazing progress in that. Last year at this time, we had 69 enrolled students in internship, and today we have 139 students enrolled in internship. We had more last semester. Some of them are like repeaters, but there were plenty last semester that only took one semester. So I would say we probably met the needs of 160 students this year. We have over 100 partnering businesses and organizations that have worked with us, and more reach out to me as they become aware of the program. Every week I have someone emailing me wanting to meet with me about internships, so that's really exciting. And parental and community awareness, I feel that that's kind of where I was really focused last year, was making sure that parents knew about this program, students knew about this program, and community businesses knew about this program. So I was looking for any kind of outreach opportunities that I could have. Callie helps me out a lot keeping our program in the news, and that always brings people to call me, but also I've done radio interviews, which is very cool. I've gotten to do an interview, was in Ponca City Monthly magazine 1 year, or 1 month. And I also get to serve on the Chamber of Commerce Work and Education Committee, which is a good way to sort of connect with other organizations that are local, that are working on the same stuff. Another thing that I wanted to do was support the ICAP process at the high school. This year we started utilizing OK Career Guide, which is a website portfolio system that just has all kinds of amazing tools that can help our students like research the careers that they're interested in, learn about what kind of money they might make doing that in our state, learn about what kind of educational pathways or work experience pathways they need to have, that kind of thing. So we do utilize OK Career Guide, and I feel like I have increased student opportunities for career exposure and mentorship in all kinds of different ways. When internships aren't available or aren't an appropriate option, I'm able to sometimes connect students to mentors in a field that they might not otherwise get to be exposed to. We're able to bring in people that are aware of the jobs that exist in Ponca City that our students might not know about, and they're able to share with them. So that's been a big focus of mine. Increased career engagement opportunities for students, that's what I was just talking about. And incorporation of mock interviews, that's something I haven't done yet. That was something I talked about last year, but I hope that we will be able to do that with our repeating students next year. That's a big goal, but just with the amount of growth we had, it was just impossible to implement it. And then also to expand our school partnerships. I work really closely with the STEM director. That was one of my goals even before there was a STEM director, and now that I have her, I just can't let her go. But it's really exciting to think about the STEM programs that we're building and how they are synergistically working towards the needs of our communities, work resources that we need to be bringing to the table as they graduate from the high school. And I think I get to be in an interesting place because I get to intersect and be a voice for the businesses in our community and the organizations in our community, and also look at it from the perspective of the teacher and the programs that we offer, and kind of think about what kind of curricular goals we have. That has been really fun. We also get to, through our partnership at PCBA, sometimes go and tour industries and talk to industry professionals about the different technologies that they are utilizing, that they are in a workforce that's able to utilize, the different kinds of skills and critical thinking that students will need to be able to do, and just to start to backwards design the education that we're giving our students around the working world that they're going to be entering into. And then I also wanted to increase opportunities in our major growth areas, which were health and medical fields, trades, and manufacturing. internships. We've had so many amazing medical opportunities through our partnership with Integris, but also with Ponca City Urgent Care. We have a student that's interning at White Eagle Pharmacy and Northern Therapy and at Whitefield Dentistry and Family Mission. We've had a lot of medical opportunities come up over the past year, which is really exciting for our students. And then we have started to meander our way into trade fields and into manufacturing. We had an intern with K&C Manufacturing this year, which was really exciting. It's kind of been hard to open the door to getting students who are under 18 out on manufacturing floors, but they are starting to be more open to it as we tell them about our program and get to know them and go meet with these businesses. So we had one at K&C Manufacturing. We also had an electrical intern at Hearst Construction earlier this year. It's been really exciting. Everyone always asks me when I come to these types of events, like, where are the interns at? And I can never think of all the different places that we have interns. So I just made a list of some of the ones in some of the major career cluster areas that are really exciting to me. I think we have interns at law firms. We've had interns with the police department, with the Corps of Engineers. We have an intern at Harbor Wealth. This is his second year. I think he'll be like certified to do some wealth management at the end of this. We have one at Home Sweet Home Realty who's going to have his realtor license when he graduates high school. That's amazing to me. Bank opportunities. We've had students that have worked at My Media Matters and actually published articles in Ponca City Monthly Magazine, which is amazing. We have students also who work for Wildcat Media. They intern with Wildcat Media and they get to do graphic design and AV stuff at all of our athletic events, and they're putting together portfolios that they're going to be able to take out when they go to college and get jobs like that, doing stuff like that when they're 18, 19 years old. It's amazing. We have lots of interns all over Ponca City Public Schools. I believe there's one that comes here to the finance department. And we have students at elementary schools. We have students with counseling programs, with, we've had them with speech pathologists, with our athletic department, just all kinds of different opportunities for students there. And this is not an all-inclusive list, but here are some of our kids doing super cool internship things. And these are my current goals, the goals that I'm moving into the future with, continuing to grow our program. Sometimes I feel like 139 students might be my max, but I don't think it is. And as people reach out to me for next year, I'm already excited. I'm getting students placed in potential placements for next year already. I would love to make more connections with businesses in our high needs career areas, and especially the ones that have been a little bit blockaded for students who are under 18, and that continues to happen slowly. To continue to expand work readiness opportunities that help our kids get ready for the working world, including mock interviews and helping them learn about filling out job applications online, stuff like that. I love sharing about our program, and that is one of my favorite things to do. It's a little nerve-wracking in this setting, but like I got to go to Pioneer Tech. They had some people come from South Dakota or North Dakota that were learning about our communities, which Dr. Hawkins went with me, our community's approaches to workforce development, and I got to go and be a part of that conversation, which was amazing. And they're talking to me about how they do internships there and how do they grow into these different professional sectors that have been difficult to get access to for their high school students. So I love sharing about our program. I hope that maybe we can go to some conferences this summer and share about it with other communities and other schools. And I want to continue also to encourage paid professional internships. That's something, and so internships can be unpaid or they can be paid. And if they are paid, obviously that turns into more of a part-time job situation for the student. But what we have found is that often these businesses get an intern and they want that intern to work more for them, or they want that intern to stay with them and they want to begin to train them for other stuff. So they're starting to pay those interns, and it also helps open doors when students might not otherwise be able to intern in that setting. For example, we had a student start with a bank. He just got hired on to work part-time at the bank so that they could do all of the HR stuff and training that they needed to do with him in order to let him have access to the information he needed So I think those are great. They create great buy-in from both the student and the business to really engage in a relationship for the long term and create a mentorship opportunity for the student. I would love to continue to work on orienting students with career options and pathways. I think I say this all the time, but kids know about like 5 jobs. They really do. They know about the jobs that their parents do and about the jobs that they see on a regular basis. They know about nurses and doctors and teachers and coaches and, you know, that's what they know. And so that, I believe the last statistic I heard was that Ponca City has over 1,000 job openings, and many of those are in decent or high-paying career fields that they can't find people to come here and do. And I hope that we are starting to prepare our students to think about what those jobs could look like for them in our community and give them a pathway to successfully start building the combination of education and work experience they need to be able to move into those jobs in their own community, and in Oklahoma and in the world. I'm not trying to limit them to this place, but it's a good place to start. I want to continue to support our STEM program development through internship opportunities that intersect with the programs that we are building there. And we've already started that, but it's just exciting to see how that's kind of growing. And continue supporting students as they transition out of high school. I would like to help track student outcomes post-graduation. I think it's easier to do with students who go to college and a little bit harder to do with students who go straight into the job force, but if we can find ways to connect with them and keep track of what's going on with them, I think we can continue to support them and see how these things that we're doing now are successful in ways that maybe we didn't even know about. I'm going to be working with Ponca City Development Authority to create like a job board, an online job board, an internship database that students can utilize to apply for jobs over the summer, because businesses reach out to me and say, hey, I'm looking for somebody to work at this summer camp or work in our bank this summer, or can you connect me to a student? So that seems to be like the way we should go. That's what they're going to be doing when they're job seeking in the future anyway. And connect students with job seeking resources as they graduate. And one thing that Dr. Hawkins and I have been talking about and working our way towards is exploring apprenticeship and micro-credentialing opportunities that we can start while they're in high school before they graduate. They probably won't finish apprenticeships before they graduate, at least as far as anything I've heard yet, but to get those started and correlate them with internships is just a really exciting opportunity, an exciting time to be living in and to be raising kids. And I got a kiddo that's going to be a 9th grader next year, and I'm excited for his future because of stuff like this. So that is my update. Any questions from anyone?
Jordan, you may have picked up a new partner, Rick Scott Construction.
We love construction partners.
Yeah, I didn't see your name on here, Rick, but I know you've used them.
He just got sold sitting there.
That's old.
Yeah, we might have had a student intern with Rick Scott Construction before I started. I'm not sure.
I don't
but,
know
yeah.
everything that goes on.
Okay.
Back a lot, so, yeah.
Well, Jordan, if the board will permit me, I just think it's programs like these that when you partner with another organization, I mean, PCPS pays 60% of Jordan's salary, and then PCDA picks up the remaining portion of it. And you can, I mean, the data speaks for itself, that more kids are responding to it. We are a service to this community. We should serve this community, we should serve these children. And one thing that I heard in post-COVID world, and I guarantee every one of you heard it too, is where we can't find a workforce. We just can't find work. No one wants to work, no one's coming to work, we can't do anything. And if we could do this is what we could do. And it was through conversations with local community partners that this internship, maybe we need to take a close look about investing in that. And so I am saying this to say, pat yourself on the back, because this board stepped up in a big way to say we can do a better job of serving our kids. And we just fell out of the lucky tree and hit every branch on the way down and landed Jordan in the middle. I mean, how do you find a Jordan in November to come in and say, we need help organizing this and providing a better service to our community? So I do want to thank her and the work that PCDA's done and this board's support on it. And I say that to say, so if we talk about the summer opportunities, there may be something where we need to look at how do we expand that for kids during the summer. That can they work and get credit or assistance on apprenticeships or micro-credentialing opportunities, and can we help run point on that over the summer for kids? So just something we're looking at as a group and something we want to consider for the board. There's some accreditation things we have to do, some other red tape, but I think it's worthy of our consideration.
So you're a non-month employee.
Yes, but I'm on a teacher contract, whatever that is.
Well, and I have to say everything that he said, but then just thank you for all the work that you're doing and continue to do. Thank you, PCBA, for all of that. And then I just appreciate the shift. Maybe I've been too narrowly focused because I used to be an educator too, but it tends to be over the last 10 years, 20 years, maybe a huge focus on the test scores so much. And this really gives me a lot of hope that it's kind of pulling out of that and really focusing on what we can do for our community. It is a service, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing and the whole team. I know we all do.
Yeah, it takes all of us to do it.
Yes.
So you are housed at the high school?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you at in the high school?
I'm upstairs, so do you know where Miss Easley's office is? It's like Miss James' office. It used to be a technology office.
Second floor of that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and if any of you want to ever come by and visit, just share your ideas and connect me to all your community business resources. I will, of course, love that. But yeah, thank you. I can put the numbers up here. I cannot put the student experiences up here for you guys to see. But it is wild. First of all, I'm jealous of these kids. Annie got to see a C-section, like, that's not even the scariest thing that's happened to the hospital in terms. I mean, but like 2 weeks after she started at the hospital, I have students who have just gotten to do the most amazing things, and it's opened up their worldview in incredible ways and connected them to mentors that are going to be so beneficial to their future successes, whether they come back or.
We've already met one, so. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next up is the superintendent's report with potential board discussions.
Mine's not going to be as cheering up, exciting as that one. It is legislative. You guys, Judy, you know this. It's April. It's a legislative update. First thing I want to talk about is last Friday was the deadline, legislative deadline. Bills had to pass out of committee. So our list that started out at 457 bills is down to about 60 right now. And I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but I'm going to hit a few high points and put some bills that will impact each of the directors in this room as well. The next deadline is April 25th, so we've got a couple of weeks for them to bicker and fight. Right now we have a stalemate between the House and the Senate, and it's over budget. And so there's a lot of posturing happening in both chambers. So what we saw on Friday is a lot of good and bad bills fell victim to the posturing between the House and Senate. One of the ones that I was really excited about was this Senate Bill 1520, which was going to lower or allow us to rehire teachers that retired and get them back in the classroom. And so this bill was laid over on Friday or Thursday of last week, just due to the posturing between the House and the Senate, and essentially that means that bill is dead. As you can see, our hosts and OSSBA were really big on this. I think even our teachers groups were. It just made sense. We have a teacher workforce shortage. You have people that are excellent, that wanted to come back and work, and would allow the schools some flexibility. The other thing I loved about this bill was that it was a 3-year sunset on it. So it wasn't committing the state of Oklahoma infinitely to let teachers double dip essentially into retirement, but it's giving us a 3-year window to help try to bolster this teacher pipeline. So it's dead. House Bill 2320, this kind of tells you how big of a stalemate we are right now. Representative Kyle Hilbert, who is by all means the incoming Speaker of the House for next session, and Senator Greg Courtney's bill, who is by all means the Senate Pro Tem coming into the Senate next year. So two top, you can't be any higher than those two in the House or the Senate. Also had a bill on hiring retired teachers. That bill got killed. That just tells you how deep the stalemate is when your two big power players couldn't get it across the finish line. Some that made it across before this stalemate happened was the State Board of Education bill, which would expand the State Board of Education to include 2 members appointed by the House and 2 by the Senate. So essentially adding 4 more State Board of Education members. That passed 11-2, so that's going to go to the floor. House high school graduation requirements have passed. I'm going to go over a little bit later a slide that talks about graduation requirements. As these things happen, as it's moving through, I was kind of scared of this, is people are starting to put their fingers in that bill and saying, wouldn't it be great if we added this for high school kids to do? Or wouldn't it be great if all communities could do this? So it's starting to get a little weighty. And one of the big things I liked about it was, one, it created a lot of flexibility for local communities to kind of set the standard for what they expect the high school students to know and glean. And I fear with additional courses added or components or different things like that, the unintended consequence will be the internship program, where kids won't have that opportunity during the school day if we keep adding that more requirements in, or extracurriculars fall victim, or ag, or, you know, I guess I talk extracurriculars. It's just going to create more, limit kids' options. And I really think that local control should be, what are we doing? What we know our kids want, what we should be able to say, what we think they need to get past that finish line. So anyway, I may be overthinking it, but it may not be too bad. The Senate, or House Bill 3958, this one's going to the floor. It's going to be interesting, but any communication between a school employee and a student has to include parents. So if a student emails you, I was sick today, what's my homework? You better CC the parents on that response to that email, because the bill language sets forth that that teacher responds back without a teacher, you are to immediately suspend them and do an investigation as an administrator. So it's going to require a lot of training on our part if this gets past the finish line on this. Obviously, probably not a big deal for elementary school people. They're probably going to include parents, but I can see for my high school kid, I do not want Annie's teacher CCing me on every communication or email. But if she is 17 years old, I want her to do it. But by law now, if this goes past, they will have to make sure that I'm CC'd or their mom, some sort of parent or guardian needs to be
What's the
CC'd.
spirit of the law coming out about it? Is it because of like?
I think this is more protection of children, no grooming or, you know, preventing kids from being groomed or any inappropriate communication that could be done. It's just hard to delineate where that line would be. So they're just said the blanket statement is if you do it, you communicate, you better CC the parents on it. Now there are some exceptions, and one exception is in the event of a school emergency that the teacher emails or texts a student, then it would not be cause for disciplinary action from the school district. So, but it does lay out pretty, in no uncertain terms, if you have a report that a teacher emailed the student without the parent CC, you're to place that teacher on administrative leave immediately and launch an investigation.
Well, it talks about electronic and digital communication. I'm also thinking of things such as reminds or.
Class dojo, reminds, yep, every one of them, we're going to have to include your parents in it. Yeah, so that, it will have a lot of impact with coaches and instrumental music, ice stepping, anything that, hey, practice is at 7 in the morning, if you don't CC the parents, you gotta be on the straight leave while we correct that. So, but it may not pass, we'll see. But it did get out of committee 10-1, that's a pretty good vote of confidence at this point, so. Senate Bill 1522, I actually like this one. It allows use of red fund funds for building fund purposes. We are limited on what we can, but this would allow us to be able to spend it on our property insurance for example. Right now, you cannot spend red fund money for property insurance. So if the board saw fit that would be a good use of those funds, we could do this. So it just creates more opportunities for the board to be able to say what they want that money to go to. That would fall in line with what we normally purchase with building fund. Senate Bill 1257 removes limitations on the general fund carryover and penalties for exceeding limitations. This one's going to probably most likely make it pass. I'm actually very excited about that one. It gives, I think, the more local control you have, I think the better. So if Ponca City, for example, wanted to save $20 million for whatever reason, because I don't know, to create a trust or whatever, they can do it, but I don't think this board would ever do that. But it does allow us to allow districts, like for example, the COVID money, when you have an influx of federal funds, that this district's not to spend the money to spend it, that we're actually being wise with it and make sure it's allocating what it needs to go to. So, Senate Bill 1768. This was getting a lot of chatter. This limits schools on the ability to use virtual days. It caps schools up to 10 emergency virtual days. That's passed out of committee. So schools that were scheduling days and calling them virtual days to say we're a 4-day school week, but the 5th day's a virtual day, wink, wink, in some communities, not in Ponca, but this would limit it to, you can do 10. You have to notify the State Department of Ed within 72 hours of when you used an emergency virtual day. Emergency reasons could be weather, so that would, we've had to do that. We didn't have to do that this year, did we? We had one snow day, right? Yeah, it was one snow day. Man, January was a long time ago. But you could use it for weather. You could use it for, God forbid, the high school had a fire and you couldn't have school that day, or that week you could call a virtual day. But it does codify or put statute what the reasons are for why you can have virtual days. The other thing we've got going on is administrative rules and Senate rules committees are expected to meet this week. Our Senator Bill Coleman is on the Senate Education Rules. This rules agency for the Senate, I'm sorry. And what they do is actually it's just a verbal vote. I don't know if that's going to be the case this year. It's just usually a yay or nay on pass or fail. I don't know if they're going to pull them out one at a time this year because there's some controversy with some of the State Department of Education rules that have been proposed. Some that actually challenge the constitutional standing of how the state agency actually administers rules and kind of taking power. Some would argue it's taking power from the legislature and giving it to the State Department of Ed. Others are saying this is what the State Department of Ed is set up to do. But I did think it was interesting that none of the Oklahoma State Department of Education attorneys, which there are none now, there's no more that work for the State Department of Ed, they've all left. They wrote these rules and now have left the agency. So I don't know if that has any standing or bearing. I let our elected officials know. It just seems interesting that if you write it, you stand with it, but I don't know why they left. I just don't know on that. But they are hearing those rules this week. Some of those rules, if you'll remember, would have a direct impact on school board members in your training and the hours that you get through OSSBA. But one of the rules proposed would pull OSSBA off that list of preferred vendors to provide school board training. And the other ones would be COSA and OK, Oklahoma Public School Resource Center. Those have been determined by the State Board of Education as no longer serving the needs of the State Department of Education, so they want to remove those, which I think could have some serious impacts on the future of our training opportunities. This one, I sent this one, this is a long one, you don't have to read it all. Basically, it's creating intra-district transfers. We already have this in our school policy, but this makes Terry's life even better. No, I say that sarcastically.
Okay.
This would be,
It's like something's on.
this, how can I say this? It ensures she has a job. Because this will make, this would be a mess. And it's interesting that McCall is, and Greg Treat are the sponsors for this bill, so it's most likely going to get across the finish line. And I don't know why McCall's writing it, because he's in a rural community. I guarantee he doesn't have an elementary school that's big enough to do intra-district transfers. But it's going to make the large community schools' lives very difficult. And it's going to create some different procedural things that this board will have to approve. And you can see there, we're going to have to approve and establish the capacities at each school site and provide grade level. And then we can have a lot of mobility between sites across the community. And it's just going to be an interesting deal.
Thinking about the disruption of learning that would create.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be, I don't know how we're going to administer it, but that's what we are paid for, is to figure out how to do these things, so we'll do it. This one I'm really excited about. This one is something we've been pushing for in Ponca City. And you guys know this, House Bill 3510, schools are being graded by the attendance of their students. And I just don't feel like that's fair. We have no control. Of course we want your kids there, we want them to be educated, we want them there, but we have to have help in getting them to school. And we can do our parts to make the school relevant and make it exciting and build relationships, but at the end of the day, kids miss, even just once a week, it becomes an issue. And we have presented study after study, we participated in a community initiative after community initiative to try to encourage the attendance at school. But at the bottom of the day, it's more of a chronic issue, a systemic issue that stems outside of the school, I think. And I agree that we need to make sure we're doing every effort to get kids to school, but at the end of the day, I don't have any abilities to go in there and grab them, bring them. We can just let them know that they're missed when they're gone. The Senate Bill 1256, what is this one? The school districts this is the teacher empowerment program. So basically this is incentive pay for teachers, where right now, last year, the school district would have to commit half the funds and the State Department of Ed would match half the funds. Our district and several districts across the state of Oklahoma, I think 95% of the districts in Oklahoma did not participate in this program. This would remove the district match. States pay for the increases, fully covering the cost if districts participated in that. It's too early yet from what I've discussed with other superintendents and other districts if that's something they want to do. Just as a reminder, this only goes to 10% of your staff, only 10% to qualify, of your certified teaching staff. So that would, for Ponca City Schools, be about 34 to 35 teachers that can qualify for incentive pay, and there are incremental values from $5,000 up to $10,000. You add contract days to their contract, and I think that's where we've been to do teaching or professional development or mentoring. And so we would have, I think, a lot of discussions as a board. We've already kind of talked about it as an administrative team that we need to be thinking about this as a possibility if this gets past the finish line. The implications of Ponca City, and then we've asked ACT to also be thinking about this.
So it left up to the boards and the administration on how to pick the 10%?
It is,
Oh,
yes.
and just to make sure that I heard that right, so they would be selected for being some sort of criteria that they would meet, and then get the extra contract days to work them? Like, you're selected for this, but then you're also...
Yeah, so there's a different, so like it's different dollar amounts. So say you're 5,000, I don't know what the dollar days are, but it might be, you get $5,000 more, but you have to work 5 extra days.
So if you're great.
Yeah, $10,000 more, we need you for 15 days extra. And but it would be up to the boards to determine the criteria, and we'd have to publish that criteria. We'd have to ensure that, it's an equitable, fair system. I mean, nothing in the law says they have to be equitable or fair, but I think for staff morale, you want to be equitable or fair. I mean, it may be this board says we're going to put all 350 names in a fishbowl, and we're going to draw out 35 of them, and
It seems like that's the way they're making it.
Yeah, that's the way this board wants to do it.
Volunteer tribute, because then you have to work more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it would be worth the trade-off, but how does it merit if you're then being asked?
It's going to have a lot of, it'll be interesting. It's going to, my fear is it's going to create winners and losers. And we're going to have some issues as staff navigating that. The only way I see that this works in an effective way is you've got to be really clear and concise and upfront with what your criteria are, what the board and this community feels are the most important things that we want to see measured or identified, and go from there. Yeah, it makes my stomach sick to think about. Because I mean, we have a lot of great teachers. I can name more than 35 off the top of my head. And
Way more.
Do you have to pick 10%?
no, well, that's a good question, Robin. My gut was no, you don't have to. You could set it at your thresholds at a higher level. I don't remember reading anything in the law that says you have to. I think it's capped no more than 2%. I think that's how it's written. How it reads. That's an interesting one. But, and I do feel like it's gonna cross the finish line, so we just need to be ready for it. This is another, so this isn't new, but they're modifying maternity leave. We talked a lot about this. Basically, maternity leave now is they're saying they can split that between the, so if you're a husband and a wife or married and you work in the same school district, you can split the maternity leave between the two people. So I would love to convince my wife to split the maternity leave with her. I'll go in 3, you go in 3. But it also removes that it has to be a certified staff person. So if they work, they hit that hourly threshold, they can go support and certified. And it does not require them to work a full year. It starts immediately. So we'll have, that may have some implications on us. We've yet to get reimbursed or paid yet for the people that have gone on maternity leave. That's something we talked to Senator Adam Pugh and our Senator Bill Coleman about. We've yet to get any of those funds from the State Department that were allocated for it. So this is another interesting one, and I think it'll just require training. But basically, you can't even use it. You can't hold a cell phone now while driving a vehicle. You can't make a phone call. You have to do hands-free at all. So, and if that's the case in the law, you can see it's a $5 fine or up to $95 fine. But we'll have to train our staff on not even pulling cell phones out to make phone calls.
It doesn't say the driver, it just says prohibits. I mean, is that?
I think it's intended.
Is that intended? Okay, because I was like, I didn't think it was.
And a school vehicle.
I wanted to fix
Yeah.
it.
It's cool.
Yeah. This is another one on the Red Bud Fund, State Public Common School Building Equalization Funds, also known as Red Bud. This one also helps us with being able to utilize those funds for like insurance premiums, basically expanding what we can use Red Bud funds for. This one could have implications, and I laugh because this would allow 13-and-a-half-year-olds to take driver's education classes to be able to drive a vehicle to school. And I just want you to think about that one. 13 and a half years old.
I can see this in farm communities.
I fear for our people at West.
Build a bigger park.
Yeah. Well, right now we have a provision for 14-year-olds that they can, with a farm permit, drive to school. We have one that takes advantage of it, but it's not something I feel very safe with. And I don't like the idea of a 13. I don't even like an idea of my 15-year-old getting a driver's education. So that's you can walk. Senate Bill 1787. I thought this was interesting. I hope we get to use this one day because we have some outstanding athletes. But if we have a student that wants to participate in the NIL, name, image, likeness deal, and signs a contract, we don't have to disclose that contract. We can keep that private. So if we have any student athletes that sign any NIL deals, that's not the purview of the Open Records Act. So I don't know if you guys have. If Judy's granddaughter gets an NIL deal for high stepping next year, we'll keep it private, Judy.
Help me out, I thought that was just a college thing, I didn't know.
And it expands to high schools.
When did that start?
A Bixby girl, 15 years old, got a golfer that played golf at Bixby, signed an NIL. She's the youngest.
You're a student, you have a right. You have a right to your name and
Yeah.
likeness. You're a person, so it doesn't matter if you're college or high school, or you can sign a deal. So. Senate Bill 1895, this allows alternative education programs to be a full-time virtual ed or blended instruction. Our people are well aware of that. We have a great alternative ed program. I don't foresee any changes to it, but this does give school districts an alternative to utilize full-time virtual ed if you needed to. This one is a change to the RSA. This is going to add a lot more work to our elementary director on testing accountability and screening. It's not going to be just limited to third grade. It's going to be multiple grades. They are looking to establish a state-sponsored or state-approved vendor that's going to be utilized for doing the testing and reading instruction and intervention. It's going to add additional requirements to the RSA bill as well. This is the graduation requirements that I talked about being thrown through the House and the Senate. Currently, what you'll see there is The big change is they want to add a fourth math, which we knew from the beginning. That's what the overall intent was to add a fourth math. But it was pitched as we want to add a fourth math, but we want to make sure that the local districts have local control to define what that fourth math is. And like this is where each of their hands are starting to get into it. That well, now it needs to be at a rigor at this level. It can only have. They're really trying to get more career tech opportunities for students to have access to career tech courses, which is great, phenomenal. But then you can see now they want to add a personal finance, which kind of already have one, but they want to kind of bolster that a little bit more on personal finance with what we have as a high school. I like the ideas that junior ROTC would be something. We don't have that currently. I don't know if Ponca City's ever had an ROTC, did they?
Yeah, they might have some.
Oh, they did?
My dad was in high school, is that,
Isn't something?
Well, they didn't have it.
And,
they had it.
didn't have it a few decades ago.
I don't remember.
You guys,
But we're walking this. One of the things I do like is it does eliminate the dual two-tier diploma system that we currently have. And so it would go back to a single diploma, which would help with our paper, record keeping, all that stuff that we have to do with kids to make sure they qualify, meet all the standards for graduation. But really, the big takeaways here are adding a fourth math, which that means we'll need to work with the new high school principal to ensure that we're staffed for that, or if we need to bring on an additional person or two to make sure that we can meet four maths. You can see some of those classes that could be classified as a math would be a computer science course, which used to be a requirement, but they're moving that now into that could be a math class if it's structured in the right way with the appropriate rigor. I don't know who determines the appropriate rigor yet. I don't know if that's a board decision or if that's a state board of education decision on who determines the level of rigor in those classes. But you can see their local board approved science-based application course, but the rigor has to be equal or above biology or physical science. Again, though, I hope our intent was that the local boards would get to decide what that rigor level was, and not the State Board of Education, because I think Ponca City people should know and decide for Ponca City kids. But we'll see how that goes. Fun. Current openings. It's hiring season, it's resigning season, it's moving on to other opportunity seasons. This is our current opening list right now, where we're at East Middle School all the way through Liberty and Trout. I must say though, I think I remember Shelley up here a few times in years past, and I'm pretty proud of this list, honestly, that it's not bigger than it is. So our people are doing a good job. East Middle School, we need both principal and assistant principal. Math opening, special ed at emotionally disturbed. Garfield second grade teacher, Poe High, you can see head principal, 2 counselors. So we really need a good administrative staff there. English, world history, math. West, not too bad for West this time of year. We've had years where that's maybe double this time of year. And then Roosevelt, Lincoln, Garfield, as well as Liberty and Trout.
What's the requirement for counselors? For some reason, we seem to, about every year, have a major turnover in counselors.
I think that's
At high school.
I agree with you. We have had a lot of turnover in counseling. And I wish I could say that the high school counselors are people that are sitting there digging in with kids about the problems that they're going through as young adults, transitioning to be adults and dealing with life. But mostly, I think our high school counselors are dealing with schedules, course credits.
Are most of them ex-teachers, or do they have unique?
They have to have a counseling certification, master's degree in counseling. Am I right on this?
They can be emergency certified,
We
as
can.
long as they're actively pursuing in a program.
So they can't be emergency certified, which we've had a few here recently that have been emergency certified. But I think over the years, and it's not just a Ponca City problem, I think it's just a statewide problem. We just keep these mandates. I mean, you just read some of those mandates on graduation requirements and different things that we have to have accountability, make sure that we're following the law. And I think the counselors, a lot of that stuff is falling on counselors here. I think it's vastly different to be a high school counselor as it is to be an elementary school counselor.
Is it the workload or is it pay?
It's both. Can I say both, maybe?
You say whatever.
I want to say both on it. We expect a lot of it out of our counselors. And we expect their schedules for every 1,500 students that we have at the high school to be exact and right, that those kids are getting the classes that they need or desire, that parents don't have any anxiety when it comes to enrollment, that those kids that want to go to college have access to college counseling, FAFSA information, the kids that want to go to the military have those connections, kids that are having emotional or mental issues or relationship problems or life problems have someone to talk to. We expect a lot out of a high school counselor. We expect them to be jacks of all trades and masters of none, basically. And so,
One of our counselor positions was a retirement too.
yeah, one is a retirement, but I think if the work hadn't been the way it is, we might have gotten another year or two, maybe, so. But that's, I say all to say, I don't want it to be negative. We ought to understand that we've got to help our counselors, support them, help them feel better supported. I know our current existing supporters at the high school or counselors are outstanding rock stars. They are going to be rock stars. We're just young and are going to need to learn. And our job as administrators to make sure that they feel supported and encouraged.
Scheduling, or has there ever been like the main office or assistant principals or anybody that has ever assisted with that?
As far as I remember, like counselors have done the schedules. As far as I remember. There used to be like a high school counseling guru with scheduling, I remember. When I was a teacher at West, back in early 2000s. That's it. But I don't know when that changed or how long it's been ongoing. Any questions on our openings?
No, but we do want to give a little shout out to Ms. Morale and Sarah Bell. They're helping a lot with the kids and their scheduling and everything with the Native American kids, so that's huge.
That's awesome.
Huge, huge.
That's good. We do have good people that want to see kids successful.
Oh, yeah.
Help them out. So, okay, I want to talk about the indoor facility and athletic field, if you don't mind. There's been some chatter on this and some communication that's gotten to me, so I just wanted to talk about our bond that we passed in October 2021 and what we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve as a district. So why this project? It's no secret when you drive down Fifth Street at 2:30 on a sunny afternoon, when you go look to your right, if you're going north and you look to your right, there are hundreds of students on that field. We have boys and girls soccer, you have boys and girls track, you have off-season cross country, off-season football, off-season wrestling, well, maybe basketball, sometimes basketball's in the bleachers, sometimes not, all on that one field. And so when I started this job in July 2021, you guys had voted on, let's do this bond issue. Or you guys were close to it, maybe you voted on it in August, I can't remember. And it was really quick, 4 to 5 weeks after I started the school district, that you guys said, we need to do this. And one of the projects was this indoor facility and athletic field. The way it was described to me, and the way I felt like I was describing it to the community, was we were going to create more room for students to be able to spread out and use fields instead of cramming them all in one field. I was told that we needed new locker rooms for the soccer teams because they're currently underneath Solon's and they're in bad. I mean, they're not bad, but they're not bad, but they're not also nice. Right. And one of the other things that I heard was our soccer games, and as a superintendent, when I go to a soccer game, it is almost 10 o'clock by the time the last game's finished. And, which is not bad. I mean, it's still not ideal on a Tuesday night for a Ponca City kid, but God bless those Woodward or Tulsa or Oklahoma City schools that are gonna have to load up on the bus and drive back.
Well, just like this year, we did testing the next day, we had a game before that, and we didn't get out until 10:30.
Yep. And so one of the things actually, and I heard this from Jason Levitt, who was our athletic director at that time, was schools dreaded coming to Ponca on a Tuesday night. It's just, and we start those games at 2:45, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so kids are skipping out of class to go get ready for a game because they're going to be at the soccer, or Sullivan's from 2 o'clock till 10 o'clock. And those Tulsa people are driving from 1 o'clock to spend until midnight until they get home. So we just needed and pitched to the community, could we do more with the soccer field or another field north of Sullivan's there. So we got to looking at what we could do, and one of the things we talked about was what would it take to put a soccer field up there in North Sullivan's. We had to research the size of the soccer field. You can see the National Federation of High School Standards for field size is 110 yards by 65 yards. This is pulled directly from their website. Recommended field dimensions for a soccer field, 110 yards by 65 yards. In the LSSA soccer handbook, that's the State Association for Secondary Schools, it doesn't specify the size of a field. It just says no team can play on the field until it meets NFHS standards. And so you can see here, this is the NFHS standards. Now, one thing that I am remiss on is when I first came on, we had pictures printed of the renderings of what the future lawn projects would look like. One of the things was when the architects drew the renderings for the soccer field indoor project, they only did the soccer lines on the field. They didn't have any other lines or any other fixed sports on the field. In the verbiage that I took around, I have the board here that we took around to all the presentations, all the community meetings, and we hung up at the Robson display. It says multi-purpose field on it, but the rendering, the picture does not show multiple sport fields. So I do want to apologize. It's not meant to mislead, but the whole intent was that we needed additional space to spread students out, to give them more. So will it primarily be used for soccer? Probably in the spring, yeah. It will probably primarily be used for spring soccer. We will have other kids on it at other times. I just think as good stewards of taxpayer funds, that it wouldn't make sense to build a whole field that we only use for one sport at this time. So now I do know we have a baseball field and a softball field, but I think for those sports, that makes sense with the size of the field or whatever, that we're not having to roll out a fence for softball, and we have to have a mound for baseball and a level for softball. So just, there creates some logistical challenges there. Now,
you need to mention junior high football.
Junior high football, yes. So in the spring, we have that problem with soccer. In the fall, we have the problem with football, where football's getting over here, and we're hosting 7th and 8th grade games, and then JV games, or a freshman game, and then JV games. And it's just, it becomes too long at Sullivan's for our kids and for our coaches. So there becomes a logistical challenge. So actually, it was talking to the coaches that conversation came about. That was, it would be great if we could run side by side. So could you have varsity on Sullivan's and JV on this field? Now I will tell you, the whole indoor facility athletic field was never intended to be a big time varsity field. One, just the layout of the whole space, the bleacher situation, we're only going to be able to put about 350 seat capacity bleachers on it. We will be able to host games on it, but you're not going to be able to host many event games there. Will we have a big giant video board that we have at Sullivan's at this place? No, we will not. Will we have a giant beautiful press box for announcing? No, we will not. We will have a little press box, but it will be a tight, it won't be even as big as baseball and softball's press box. It will be a tight fit. But we thought it's not going to be our varsity showcase field. We will still play games at Sullivan's. We have to. I mean, I don't think it would be a service to say, sorry, you don't get to have a video board. You don't get to use the same amenities that football has or track has or anything like that. The only thing this field won't have is it won't have a track. There's just not big enough to do a track. We have some setbacks that we have to follow and do. But what we can do is we can make the field primarily white lines with soccer. So you can see there, this is the mock-up of what the indoor, or not the indoor, the athletic field does look like with the soccer in the dominant white, and then football lines would be in blue. And again, it's not just for football, but marching band can use that. They need the spots. High stepping can use that. They need the yardage signs for spacing and out whenever they practice. But I wanted to make sure that people understand the proposed field is 360 feet by 195 feet, with a 13-foot spacing around the home side down there, where it says Ponca City Wildcats. That would be towards Solon's, that'd be closer to Solon's, and then up on the north there would be about 10 foot. It's almost 11, it's almost 14 foot and 11 foot, but I wanted to round down and not round up so people wouldn't think I'm lying to them. I'd rather under promise and over deliver on it. So what does that mean? It means our field actually here is larger than the NFHS standards. Okay, so it exceeds the National Federation for High School Standards. It exceeds it in length. It meets it at width on there. So it's longer than that, but it meets standards on width there. The other thing I wanted to say is this field right here, the outdoor field, has about 2,000 square yards, square feet, square yards, 2,000 square yards of additional turf than Solon's does. Solon's will be a smaller field than this field. We do care very much about making sure that what we promise to the community we provide, and we feel that this field exceeds NFHS standards. I think it will bring another piece to our high school extracurriculars and high school campus to create more flexibility for students to get out there onto the field and participate. It would create more space for coaches to work with kids. It'll still provide bleachers for spectators, press box. We will be able to hold games there if we want to. But this was always intended to be an extra space for kids to get out and practice and work on. Can we use it for games? Absolutely, but it won't have a video board like we do. It won't have the big press box that we currently have, or the 6,000 capacity bleachers. This will be a great tool in our tool belt, essentially, moving forward. Any questions about this? The project's going along well. They poured about 3,000 cubic yards of concrete and still more to come. So it's about 300 fully loaded concrete trucks. I fully expect PC Concrete to get you guys a vegetable tray by Christmas for a thank you for all the concrete. It's going to be a banner year for them, but it will be a fantastic addition to our high school campus. Yeah.
Parking is there going to be parking spaces on that, or is it more?
Absolutely. So one of the big things we recognize is we have parking challenges around our district, and this project will add, I cut it off in this picture, but down below where it says Ponca City Wildcats, you see these lines here, that's the bleachers. But I cut off down there because I cropped it to get this on there. But we'll add about 170 parking spots around that whole area. There'll be 2 banks of them around the whole south side and east side of the property. So I think it's 176. I may be over-promising on that. Is it 176?
Close.
Woo! All right. That's good. That's good. So I guarantee there'll be more parking spots, paid parking spots, than Ponca City's ever had at that location.
We do 135 right behind Turtles.
We do? Okay, well, now we've got 44 more additional parking spots coming. And one thing that's also important to know is there will be plenty of ADA parking. There will be ADA access to this field. So people were asking us to make it wider. I just don't understand the why make it wider, because I think the bleachers are important to have. So if we needed to host a game, we could. And I think the parking is important to have, and the ADA accessibility is important. So that is as big as a field we can get with having parking and bleachers.
I think they're also, down where it says Ponca City Wildcats south of there, plan on parking buses down there also.
Yep.
And that may be why they needed it, all the space they could get with larger buses.
But that will have more turf on it than Solon's does. So you think about all the turf we have out there, then this is about 2,000 square yards bigger than that. It'll be a very impressive, large facility. So, all right. Okay, driver's education update. Last month, you guys approved driver's education. We got that registration open on April 2nd after a good campaign. I would say it was a very well broadcast campaign to our parents, informed that they were going to take applications through Power School. And we had 40 enrollees, which was the cap that we could serve this summer in the first 2 minutes that it was opened up. By the end of the day, we had about 80 students signed up for driver's ed. So good news is there, if you're a business person, you know that there's probably a demand for that. So if we were to consider growing that in the future, that's a good sign for it. Our cars are at Legacy Signs right now being wrapped. The brakes have already been installed on it, so we'll have those ready and we'll be ready to kick that program off here at the end of May, starting that. So again, I appreciate this board's support on that. Applicants are being notified here pretty quick on how to pay, when the classes begin, how the teacher's going to get in contact with them and build that schedule out. Because there's going to be some class time, but the majority of time is going to be spent on the wheel for kids. So, Joanna and Sean were working on that today, so appreciate them taking the lead on that. Looking ahead, notable dates, this weekend's prom. I do want to thank the O'Neill family for helping fundraise to help cover some fees for students to get them eligible to get tickets to prom. We have students that had bills for snack accounts or lunch accounts or class fees or anything like that that hadn't been paid. O'Neill's came and took care of that for us, so we really appreciate them doing that. It did open up a discussion with us on why we're letting kids charge food, but I don't know if this board wants to get into the business of telling kids they can't eat, and
I'm sorry for interrupting, but you can get your main food, am I correct? You just can't get the extra fun foods. Is that how it kind of works? You're not going to be told no. Like if Alex's bill was $30 over, she can't go to Taco Bell or nothing. You know what I mean? You can't go to the other ones. Am I correct?
Well, to a certain point, we have a process where they go through where it should be $35 is the maximum that they can have a balance on, but many of the students were way past that. Now, if they owe any more than 35, they can't charge extras. But a lot of times that extra comes up as French fries. What do we do with the product? So we typically just let them go, hoping they will pay for it. And that system hasn't worked that well lately.
And I did want to point out that we have free introduced lunch, and our staff and team really make every effort to get in touch with parents that if there is a financial need, that we help make sure that that doesn't happen. And sometimes you just have people that just refuse to fill that out and take the assistance. So I don't want people thinking we punish kids for not eating. That's not the case. We do try to make every effort to get kids served and have those experiences. But I do want to appreciate that they did help fundraise and clear off the account, so it creates a better bottom dollar for Jeff's group and gets kids to the prom, and it sounds like a win-win. Registration updates are happening. The registration is happening across the district right now. I know my own 8th graders gotten registered, pre-registered for the high school classes through Power School. It was swimmingly easy for my 8th grader. I know they're working on pre-K early in registration. We're going to roll in a few parents to kind of pilot a new way of doing it to see if it's more efficient, better service for our community to get kids enrolled there. It's banquet season. If you didn't get your invitations to Frazier's Banquet, I've already got that one on my calendar. I know there'll be others. National Honor Society induction is moving on April 26th. Top 10 T will be before our next board meeting on the 5th. And then Ponca City's 37th leadership class graduation. I put that on there because our own Amy Sports is graduating if she makes it. Are you going to graduate?
I hope so.
You're not going to be a leadership dropout, right? You're not going to be a leadership dropout, right? Okay.
Graduation's moved to the 7th though, because our event is going to be on the 9th.
Oh, it is? Oh, all right. Well, see, I got it on the wrong
That's a
day.
recent change.
I would have been late. I would have been late. So I'll change it. But I would like to go to that, and since we have an attendee in it, and it's a great program to get our people engaged and people in the community engaged in what's happening in Ponca City. Rob, did you ever do leadership?
I turned it down to year one.
You could have been a year one.
Year one, I was on the road too much. I couldn't do it. I told them I could do it if they just take me, didn't have to go on the road 200 nights a year.
And they said, go on the road.
Go on the road.
All right, well, it's a good program. I'm a leadership 28, class 28 grad, and I thought it was phenomenal. It's a great program for our community. So this is, I talked about this a little bit last month. Jennifer and Delanna went to another meeting on this. We're talking about, kind of piggybacking on what Jordan's talked about, internships, but how can our educational entities, and this is the last slide and we'll be done. How do our entities in Ponca City work more cohesively to better serve our students? And that doesn't just include Ponca City schools, but what happens when we get to UC and NOC and Pioneer Tech and economic development and all these other organizations that I fear that we got some silos built up since COVID. How do we knock those silos down and increase that communication? So we've been talking about what's an education workforce summit look like, where we can get business and industries, nonprofits together, so we can try to improve more alignment amongst our organizations, better serve students, better serve the population that we're here to serve. And I think one of the great things we have going on is the opportunity to bring in a speaker that could help lead us in like a community discussion. And this board would be invited to attend or participate, but I definitely want myself and our administrative team, our secondary counselors, I think our secondary principals, department chairs, Jordan, our internship director, our STEM director, basically get in a room with all these other entities, know people's names and how we talk about best practices and improve what we're trying to do for our communities. Mark Perna is a speaker that's kind of a world-known speaker that's gone to several communities that has led this discussion. He's expensive. It wouldn't be cost picked on by PCBS. Now we may chip in a little bit on it. We're looking at if we can use some federal funds to help chip in to bring him to Ponca City to help lead this discussion. But we're looking at maybe something later this summer in July, doing that, bringing some of our folks in and get them with the other organizations and listening to Mark and engaging in a meaningful discussion as a group and how we can take 24-25 academic year and really shift what we're doing and take it to a whole new level on the way we get kids ready for life after school. So I think it's exciting. I look forward to giving you guys more information on that moving forward. I think I talked for just about 5 minutes there, so I'm going to wrap it up and take questions if you have them. If not,
I think I asked all mine, Karen.
okay. Well, I appreciate it. I look forward to our May meeting. We've got a lot of good stuff happening this month, and after that, I'll be done. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the consent. And we have 2 items, the minutes from the March 11th meeting and contracts under 10,000. Don and I looked all those over. There really wasn't anything controversial or confrontational about those. There's several activity funds. There's a Wildcat Theater, a flagpole, a few little costs to the district, no cost to the district. So at this point, I would accept a motion to entertain item 7.
I'll make a motion.
That was second.
Any discussion?
No.
Call for the vote.
Anna Roland. Judy Truitt. Robin Riley.
Aye.
Nancy Zimmershed.
Motion carries. Number 8, action items, motion required. I don't see the way my voice is, the value in reading all of those. It is items A through N. Don and I, again, in the Finance Committee, talked about just about all of those. Unless there's any discussion or anything, I entertain a motion for
I'll
that.
make a motion.
I'll second.
Discussions? Call for the vote.
Nancy Zimmershed. Robin Riley.
Aye.
Anna Roland. Judy Truitt.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 2, consider and take action on board policy changes deemed necessary to accreditation requirements. They've passed some new laws for accreditation that we have to now name specifically some Title IX coordinators, and they're listed on your packets. The coordinator, the investigators, the decision makers. This is pretty much cut and dry. We don't have a choice in this matter. So I would entertain a motion for item number 2.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Robin Riley.
Aye.
Judy True. Anna Roland. Nancy Zimmershed. Aye.
Number 3, consider and take action on the guaranteed maximum price for the tennis upgrades project submitted by Rick Scott Construction. Jason, you have anything you want to say about this one?
We did do worked on some value engineering and brought this price down from 2.8 to 2.3. So worked with our architects and CMs to eliminate some unnecessary items in this project, but still get what we need as far as tennis courts and a facility for students to change, locker rooms, office, bathrooms, to serve all of our kids and staff. So,
Remind me again what the alternates were?
I'm sorry?
The alternates, it says that it includes alternates 1 and 2.
Yeah.
alternate 1 was full brick. Alternate 2, Rick, help me on that.
Oh,
I'm sure I can go back and look at it.
Yeah.
I've got that written down. I spent about 2 hours on the phone with Jason.
Yeah, I
On this
told him
one, I said,
earlier,
"Rick,
and then school stuff up more.
Just tell them, Jason, how much we appreciate
it
it.
was
Yeah.
signage.
Yeah, signage, so, and we accepted both of those.
Okay, thanks. That was the only question I had.
2-hour phone call.
Yeah. No, I told him he needed to email me your questions, so I can keep track of this and get all my documents ready to go.
Well, I mean,
No, it was a good conversation.
I mean, you guys did a good job of cutting $500,000 out. Problem was, you had about $1 million you needed to cut out to start with. But you cut out the parts that really won't affect the kids that much.
Not at all.
And that was the key. The things you did cut out were some things that the kids wouldn't even notice. So with that, look for a motion on item 3.
I make a motion for approval for item 3. All second.
No discussion? Call for the vote.
Anna Roland.
Aye.
Judy True. Robin Riley. Nancy Zimmershed. Aye.
Motion carries. Item 4, an agreement with Apogee to provide an online platform for the district. This has to do with the content management, web hosting, mobile apps. Cost is about $22,000 and will come from the bond fund 34, which is IT.
I think we consider all of these and then we go back and look.
Okay?
Is that right? Yes.
Okay. B is a quote from Asbestos Handlers. I've seen the pictures. In the West Junior High School gym, they've done a really good job over there for $16,000. There was a lot of mold up in the ceiling at the West Junior High gym.
Non-toxic.
Non-toxic.
We haven't tested.
It didn't look non-toxic, but they did a good job on it. C, a quote from Catapult Learning to provide professional development for elementary teachers. That is the one that in the past we used a different provider, and this one worked out okay. Let's see. D, a quote from Discovery Education for Dreambox Reading, and D and E, one is for a high school, one is for West Middle School, but it's the same thing, the same software package that we're doing for both of them. F, an agreement with Imagine Learning for site license for Ponca City Virtual Academy, Wildcat Academy, and the high school. This is a 3-year quote. Total cost is $190,000, and it will come from the general fund. G, an agreement with the ISE International Student Exchange for a foreign exchange student to attend Ponca City for next school year. Delaney, where's that student coming from?
Spain.
Spain.
Is that one? Spain.
Okay.
Are they good at soccer?
Can we
I'll
get
have
extra
to
points in
check
football?
into that.
That's more
Most
important.
likely, yes, based on their culture.
Football. H, a quote from Excel Learning for student license for West Middle School, East Middle School, and the high school. This is a 3-year quote. It looks like it's gonna be more money, but it is not when you take all 3 years into the fact. It's actually a reduction. At 1,600 Chromebooks. It started at 520-some thousand, and now it's down to 488. Good job on reducing cost on that one. J is a contract with Winter Road Tally Architects for general services. Jason, we are not committed that we have to use them, but if we do use them, that's the amount that we pay them, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve A through J?
I'll make a motion to approve A through J.
Any comments or questions on any of them?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, call for the vote.
Nancy Zimmershed. Aye. Anna Roland. Robin Riley.
Aye.
Judy Truitt.
Okay, number 5, motion and vote to convene to executive session. I do believe we need one to discuss the employment of executive directors and
I think you just have to read that right there where it's in the bold.
read the whole thing.
I don't know if you have to. No, they don't think so, don't you?
Hiring a high school principal.
You just read the bold, but not the statutes.
Yeah.
Motion to convene to executive session for the following purposes: to discuss the possible termination, reassignment, resignation, and employment of personnel on the attached detailed personnel report. Authority for executive session, blah, blah, blah. To discuss hiring a high school principal, executive session. Do not have to do it, but we need to discuss it. To discuss the employment of executive directors and directors. I don't know why we got that in there twice. Discuss the purchase and appraisal of real property, and discuss confidential conversations with the board's attorney concerning pending claims and litigation. Do I have a motion to move to executive session?
So moved.
And a second.
I'll second.
Comments? Call for vote?
Robin Riley.
Aye.
Nancy Zimmershed. Aye. Anna Roland. Judy Truitt.
Motion carries. We're now in executive session.
Back into the session.
Okay, is there any
Now, let's read number 7.
recital of the board president minutes of executive session were kept by the board minutes clerk and will remain confidential, okay? Consider and take action on terminations, recommendations, reassignment, resignations, and employment of personnel. We do need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve item 8.
Yes, 8. Do I have a second?
Oh, second.
All in favor? Or let's do individual roll call.
Anna Roland. Aye. Nancy Zimmershed.
Aye.
Judy Truitt.
Aye.
Robin Riley.
Aye. Discussion and possible action to hire a high school principal. No action was taken. Correct? Turn the page. New business, do we have any? Adjournment, motion required.
Make a motion to adjourn. I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Don't need a vote, have to do an individual vote.
We have to do a call.
Actually, Julie Miller said,
Julie Miller
let's
said-
get up and walk out.
No, you have
Because we have
unfinished
an item.
business on your agenda, so you do have to take a vote. to adjourn.
Okay. Call for the vote.
Nancy Zimmershed. Aye. Anna Roland.
Aye.
Judy Truitt.
Aye.
Robin Riley.
Aye.